Okay, so if you have Node.js already installed on your computer system, and you also have your IDE, either the Visual Studio Code or whatever IDE you're using, that's fine. Then please head over now to the IDE. Okay, so I will be using the Visual Studio Code, like I said earlier. Now, please do what to open a file in the Visual Studio Code. As you can see, I have a file named TT right there. So for us to use Node, create a file, open it in the VS code, and just type in npm init -y or -y. And npm usually asks a lot of questions like what is the name, what is the version, what is the description, what is the main file, what is the auto, what is the license. So just adding -y helps us to skip these questions and go to the final part. So later on, you could come here to do some editing, and that's not important for now. So what we do need is a file, a JavaScript file, and I'm just going to name mine as the server.js. Okay, so mine is the server.js. So what is this? What can we do with this? First of all, to start using Node, there's what we call the HTTP. Now, this HTTP helps us create the server. The HTTP stands for the Hypertext Protocol. Now, how do we use the HTTP? We use the HTTP in creating the server for the Node.js. Okay, so how do we do that? It comes pre-installed with Node, so you don't have to install it. HTTP require HTTP. So this is for the first part of things. Now we have to call HTTP to create the server, and after creating the server we have to create a function in there. And now this is where you have to focus. Now when making a request to a browser, say I head over to Google Chrome and I type in www.google.com, well, that is what we call a request. Okay, so me typing the link www.google.com is called a request. It's like I'm going to store, hey, I need some processed food, and the food being given to me is called the response. So when the vendor gives me a food, it's known as the response. So when I type www.google.com and the browser gives me the user interface of Google, that is the response. So in Node.js, we mostly deal with the request and the response. So how do we could just call this the res and the rec. But this is what you mostly see in so many um raw files you have on Node.js. Okay, so what do we do with the rest? So the response, we could call the right head function on it. This is just to define the type of thing we are going to give as a feedback. Okay, what the user interface is going to display. So you could say, you could put in here the status code, which is 200. Then next you could define, sorry, the content type, and to be text slash HTML. So please make sure this is in quotation. Fine. Okay. Now the next thing you need to do is to end this by saying res.end, and you could say hello world. So this is the message you're dropping in the server. Now, how do we create a server? How do we run this file? Well, you could do something. You could say const ports should be equal to. So I'm going to run this on 8000. Now I call listen on HTTP, and we can say port, listen on port, which is 8000, and we're taking a callback function right here. Oops. Okay, taking a callback function, and we console.log so we can know if the server is up. Say server is running on port. So you should know how to use template literals. So this will just fetch us the port right here, which is 8000. Okay, so now what you just do, you need to say node server.js. Okay, so what you're just saying, you're saying node server.js, and you see server is running on port 8000. Now if you go over here and just let me use this, you see hello world. Okay, so if we weren't sending anything right here, you'll just see cannot get. Okay, sorry, with when using node you have to restart the server, so I have to call this again, and you see, because we aren't sending anything right here, it's finding it difficult to load. So if I just put this right back and we have to reload again, that is why we don't use node that much. So I'll show you what you would use so you don't have to reload like this. So if I make a change right here now and I save, you expect if I reload you see, but no, I have to restart the server and before you see the change. So what can we use? Let's head over to npm, and while in npm we could search for a package known as nodemon. Okay, so this is nodemon. So basically nodemon helps us to, okay, it's not displaying for some reason, but if you have a good internet connection you should be able to see some files right here. So basically nodemon helps us to restart our server without us having to restart it over and over and over again. So to install nodemon, okay, it's displaying right now. So install nodemon, you just have to say npm install -g nodemon. If you're using yarn, you say yarn install -g means global, so you don't have to install nodemon for every single package in which you download. Okay, so now you, after doing that, you save as a dev dependency and development dependency using this line of code. So after doing that, please head over to VS Code, or if you are already in VS Code, just stay there and type in nodemon server.js. But there's something I want to show you. Back in your package.json file, add a comma and start. So we're going to say start and say nodemon server.js. So now we see npm start. What are we running? We're going to run nodemon on server.js, and that's it. Okay, I forgot to save the file, so it's currently running node instead of nodemon. So I run again. Yeah, so we're running nodemon. So by the time you see this current UI, you should know you're on nodemon. But if you get something this dull, you should know you're on node. So now we're running with nodemon. Now if I come here and I reload the page, You see the JJ is still here, but if I remove it and save, says restarting due to changes. Now starting Node.js, node server.js, and you see it's down, already done. And if I say I save, I reload, it's already done. So this is just some basic things you could do with Node.js. So also you could do some basic things like say 2 plus 2, you log it to the console, it's equals to 4. You could do basic arithmetic, sorry. You could do division, whatever you're interested in, you could do it in our console. So that is the idea of Node.js. So instead of heading to the browser and going to inspect and going to console, instead of using the browser's console, we run JavaScript on the server part and we get everything logged in our terminal. So this is very convenient to use in Node.js. So now we're going to head over to the next video where we'll start working on our cryptocurrency tracking application.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us high.